Cheryl Washington here. So this is so funny. I love the fresh smell of a fresh pot of coffee, right? So I came this morning. Yesterday I spilled my coffee grinds all over the place. So I cleaned the coffee machine the best I could. So I'm making my coffee, and I forgot to put the darn filter in there. So I'm not sure how my coffee is going to come out. Hopefully it'll taste okay, and I don't have to make the pot all over again. But I'm going to go ahead and try it. And we'll see. We'll see how it comes out. Anyway, so today is day 60. Yeah, it's hot. Day 60. Why do I do this every day? It's day 68 of my 90-day video challenge, and I do want to actually talk to you about something important. So, you know what? Let me finish my coffee. I'll be right with you. Hey everyone, I am back. My coffee, like I said, I made the coffee. I'm about to try it. Okay, it's not bad considering I didn't put the little filter thingy in there. It's okay. Not as good as what I usually make, but it will do for this morning. So anyway, back to what I want to talk to you about today. So I am a member of Empower Network, and specifically I am part of the Dream Team. And we do a midday motivational call, which you've seen on my profile. And, basically the purpose of that call is to motivate folks in your day-to-day life, in running your business. And, if you are, if you see my page and you see that, don't feel like you have to join. If you don't want to get on the call, that's fine. But, there are hundreds of us that do join that call and get some real value from this call. Absolutely love it. And this week has just been a phenomenal week. And Monday, there was a young lady, Angela Carter, who's a member of the team, and she talked about the power of a belief. And this is so important. I was so happy that I sat through this call. Now, I have a strong belief in myself, but one of the things that I've struggled with, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. It's kind of weird, but, people will sometimes ask me, or not necessarily ask me, I'm listening to someone, they're talking about, hey, think about a time where you had, where you accomplished something in your life. And I'm like, well, what did I accomplish? I mean, I had a son, obviously that's an accomplishment, but that's not the kind of accomplishment they're talking about. And I'm just sitting here like racking my brain. What the heck have I done? I really don't feel like I have an accomplishment. But when she talked about accomplishment, think about something that you accomplished, immediately came to my mind was, in high school, I was not an A student. In high school, I wasn't even a B student. I was really barely a C student at best. When I went to college, not even that. I went to South Carolina State, and actually I had sat out for a while after, I was one of those career students. Sat out for a while, came back home, and, I had Elgin, went back, and I just needed a few classes, 4 more classes to graduate. I took those 4 classes. I did pretty well in those classes. I think that came from, a level of maturity. And then at some point I decided I wanted to get a master's degree, and I decided I wanted to go to Seton Hall. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be like a miracle if they accept me, especially once they see my transcript. And that's a side story, but that's just something I always try to tell Elgin, that, what you do now, you're going to have to justify later. So anyway, miraculously, I was accepted to Seton Hall's graduate program, and I got a degree in strategic communications and leadership. And and some of you watching this video may be part of my learning team, and some of you will specifically remember this. But I remember I believe it was an 18-month program and it was online. However, there were 3 residencies. So there were 3 weekends where we actually had to go to the campus. Now, I was living in South Carolina at the time, so I had to travel to New Jersey. But the residency, there was one at the beginning of the program, there was one at the middle of the program, and one at the end of the program. And so the beginning of the program was when everybody had a chance to introduce themselves and meet themselves, their families, etc. And I remember having this dinner, and at the table, I don't remember how the conversation came up, but the general consensus of the table was, I'm just trying to pass this class. I'm not trying to, get the top grades or whatever. I'm just, all I want to do is get through this program. So that was the consensus of the table of what everyone was saying. And I sat back and I was quiet. I didn't say one word. It was at that point that I knew that I was going to try to be the best in my class. And I actually believed that I could do it. And that was a message, and that's why Monday's call was just awesome. It resonated with me. But I really, and I knew that, high school, I didn't do great in high school. I didn't do great. I totally sucked at South Carolina State as a student. And I was just not going to let that define me. I felt like here I have this third chance, right? Because college was the second chance to get it right, and I screwed that up. Now I'm going to graduate school. The work is going to be more challenging, but darn it, I am going to graduate at the top of my class. And that's what I got. That first night, I made that commitment to myself. And so during the next 18 months, what did I do? I would read, let me see, hold on. I don't know if I have any books. I do. I have some of my books over here. This is just one of them, Kouzes and Posner. We read a lot of their books, but here's one, Encouraging the Heart. But there's a bunch of books. And you know how you're taking a class, you go through a book and you just kind of skim? I didn't skim. I actually read every single word of every single book that we were assigned. When we had assignments, I took those assignments seriously. I didn't just do a crappy ass job, and just turn it in and hope for the best. I put a lot of thought and effort. And as a matter of fact, I remember I had a group. Oh, I wish I could remember everybody that was in my group. We had to do a strategic plan or something for the Newark Railway. And I don't know how many people of you actually know that there is or was a railway in Newark. I don't mean Broad Street Station. I don't mean Newark Penn Station. There's actually a railway in Newark. And we had to do a plan for this. And we finished the plan. I think the paper was probably like 40 pages or so, maybe a little more, a little less. And when we got our grade back, which was an A, the professor sent an email with a comment that was the best paper that he had ever seen. Not the best paper in the class, right? Because other people, and we worked in teams, but he said the best paper he had ever seen. Okay? So at that point, I knew I was on the right track. So, got an A out of that class. I got an A out of, matter of fact, I think I got an A out of all my classes. I think one class I either got a B plus or an A minus. I can't remember. So by the end of the program, I just didn't know what to expect. And then I got the call, Cheryl, guess what? You are the valedictorian of the class. You got the highest grade point average. Woohoo! I couldn't believe it. Here is this student that could barely get a C in high school. I could barely get an F in college. Okay? And I'm freaking valedictorian in a master's program at Seton Hall University. That was just incredible. So, I think that's my alarm, you guys. Hold on. All right, I've turned that off. So I'm super proud of myself. Now this means that, at our graduation, I get to give the graduation speech. And I was excited about it. I was ready for it. But sometimes when I have, time before a deadline, the creative juices don't really start flowing. So I actually did not write my valedictorian speech until the morning of graduation. I got up early, and one of my classmates, Kim, helped me. She was my sounding board as I tried to put some stuff together. But I just want to, if you have a few minutes to stay with me, I'm actually going to read to you my valedictorian speech because I found it and I'm just so proud of it. And keep in mind, I put it together the morning of the commencement. Now, isn't it funny? Do you ever find something that you wrote years ago and you're reading it and you're like, wow, I wrote that? So anyway, we, the graduates, have been given the opportunity to move forward and make a significant change by becoming leaders and positive role models for others. The torch has been passed, and it is now up to us to make a difference. It is extremely an honor to represent Learning Team 18 as your valedictorian. I want to thank my teammates for their support, their encouragement, and their friendship over the past 20 months. I certainly hope that will continue. Dave, our spirit leader, is going to see to it. Right, Dave? I also want to take a moment to thank our instructional team. And I would like to recognize Dr. Rick Duell, my Module 1 professor, who, for me, set the tone for the entire program. I also want to thank my entire instructional team professors, Kushan, Zizik, Mizrak, Lloyd, Sonline, and Wooden. Thank you to Regina Walker and Laura Iandorio for your constructive and thorough feedback and encouragement. I would also like to recognize my family members who are here today. As your valedictorian, I have been charged with the arduous responsibility of delivering you a message of inspiration and hope. Why arduous? Because if an empty envelope doesn't inspire you, what else will? Seriously, today is the day of many accomplishments for our graduating class, and I am so proud of each of you. Many of us have survived the obstacles that were placed before us. Throughout the years, we all have endured the horrific tragedy of the lives lost in 9/11. Despite those obstacles and any other challenges we faced, when we leave here today, we can say that we accomplished another milestone. We have a master's degree in strategic communications and leadership from Seton Hall University. However, that leads to the next obvious question. What's next? We set the bar by designing a blueprint for our lives. We encourage others and we embrace change. As one of you stated in a previous module, if it's not broke, break it. We must continue to set goals for ourselves and work towards achieving them. We must continue to evaluate our impact on others. We must continue to find ways to live, think, and breathe outside of the box. Throughout the program, we often referenced President Abraham Lincoln and one of his leadership attributes, leading by walking around. Most would define that in terms of the workplace. Today, I want you to define it in your own terms. How much walking around are you doing in your own lives? Or are you standing still? How many times do you pat yourself on the back and tell yourself that you are worth it? How many times have you not allowed others to confuse your confidence for arrogance? Dr. DeSalvo said something surprising yet insightful last night. He said that only 5% of the population has master's degrees. What does that mean? That we should be, what that does mean is that we should be extremely proud of ourselves. We did it, and we earned the right to hold our heads up high without apology. We also have a greater responsibility, not only to ourselves, but to others. Last night, we tearfully thanked our family for their tremendous sacrifice and our friends for their undying support. We owe it to them to move from good to great. We must demonstrate that their sacrifice was not in vain, but one that brings good rewards. It also is incumbent upon us to motivate, inspire, coach, and mentor others. As leaders, we must be a positive influence in the minds of the next generation of leaders. Over the past few days in particular, I've had the chance to sit down and talk with many of you, and something struck me. 20 months ago, when we met for the first time, we were asked why we chose this program. At the time, many of us had a specific goal in mind and specific reasons why we enrolled in this program. Today, many of those goals have changed. Many of us no longer sure what we want to do. Our goals have changed. Why? Because an entirely new world is now open to us. Our future is without limit. Will my LT 18 teammates please stand? We learned a tremendous amount of information in this program, not only about communication and leadership, we also learned about ourselves and others. I asked you to stand because there are a lot of young people here today. I want them all to see what commitment looks like, what staying focused looks like, and what minimizing distractions look like. There are others in this chapel today who are no longer our youth, who are imagining themselves up here right now, whether for the first time, second, or third. Again, we represent that you too can do it with the right commitment and follow through. To my teammates, each one of us are leaders. Each one of us has what it takes to be successful beyond imagination. Each one of us is determined. Each one of us is an inspiration. Each one of us can make a difference. And each one of us are master level students. Congratulations, best of luck, and God bless. Wow. I can't believe I wrote that. But you know what? The sentiment here is all true. We have no limits. The only limits you have are the ones that you impose upon yourself. When you achieve things, there's nothing wrong with being proud of your accomplishments. You don't have to shy away from your accomplishments. You worked hard for it. You achieved it. Go out and let folks know what you did. You never know who else you might inspire. Anyway, you guys, day 68 of my 90-day video challenge. Hope you got something very important out of today. You got to believe, just make up your mind to do something and know in your heart it's going to get done, and then do the actions that it takes to get there. If you mess up, so what, right? It's a learning experience. But you know what? I think, I'm not sure I think it's Vic Streishaus, actually, a good friend of mine, who says, I want to say this right, imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. Something like that. Anyway, you guys take care. Bye-bye.